Hey everybody, this is Ori from AstroWeb, and today I'm going to introduce to you how to safely change your permalinks, your URL structure for your posts in WordPress after you've already launched your website. So if you've already launched it and you already have a URL structure and you want to change it, you need to consider a few different things, mostly user experience, checking, and SEO efforts. Okay, so I want to show you exactly what you need to do. So before I do that, I just want to talk about URLs right now for a second. So let's say, for example, my test site, I have a test site right here, and I use the day and name setting on the permalinks, which basically adds to the URL a year, a month, and the day of the post plus the name of the post. And let's say I want to shorten that. Okay, so let's say I have right here, this is my URL, and I want to remove this. I don't want it. Maybe my SEO consultant said, hey, let's remove it. It's cleaner, it's more SEO friendly, and it looks better. It's not a long, scary URL. Okay, so let's say I want to have it like that, right? It's nice and clean. Okay, so what do I need to do? Let's look at a list of things that we need to do, that you need to follow. Okay, so number one is before you change any structure or any URLs, obviously you want to back up the database, right? Anytime you change something, you want to have a backup in case you made a mistake or you want to revert backwards, and you always have a database. So you're going to ask your developer, make a backup, right? Always do that. Number two, you're going to go to your site and you're going to get all of the list of the pages that have this special URL. So basically it's the list of all of the posts. If you go here, you can get the posts one by one, right? I have, for example, 69 published one. I can go one by one and I can grab I can put it in a spreadsheet and I can copy it for later. Or if you have a sitemap builder, an automatic sitemap, for example, on this test site, I can go to the sitemap and I can look at all my URLs. I could just copy it into spreadsheet, obviously filter the ones that have the year, month, day, and then I can do it. So that's what I like to do, especially if I have a site that has a lot of content. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to continue. So once I have a list of pages, what I can do is I can actually change the permalinks, and at the same time I'm going to check the website and I'm going to create the redirects, right? And if I have any caching, I'll refresh the cache. Okay, so all of these things have to be done together. In many cases, you're going to do the redirects first and then change the permalinks and then check. It depends on your flow and how it works. So you do that, and then after the last thing you do, obviously, is you're going to be testing, and then you're going to go to any other systems that you have traffic pointing to that website, for example, Google Ads or Facebook Ads, and you're going to change the URL. If you have anything pointing to that long URL with the year, the month, and the day, you're going to shorten it, right? You don't want redirects to happen. And the last thing you're going to do is evaluate the user experience, make sure nothing broke, go to Google Analytics over time, check your SEO rankings, make sure nothing was affected. Because when you change URLs, things could be affected. Users could be affected. There might be some issues, some bugs, and SEO rankings could change. So anytime you change something, SEO rankings could be affected for good or for bad, right? And in many cases, there's a small chance that there will be some issues, short-term change due to the URL structures until the search engines can re-crawl the entire site. Okay, so let's review how to do it. Let's actually go through most of these steps. Backup database I'm not going to do, but you ask your developer, make a backup, store it safely. Okay, so we talked about the sitemap. I would get a list of all my pages. For example, I'm just going to use this page, for example. Okay, and then what you need to do right here is, let's go right here, let's follow list. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to actually go ahead and create the redirects. Okay, so what is going to happen in the redirects? You will need a plugin to create redirects. So the one I use right here is the redirection plugin by John Goodley, and it's pretty popular one. This is the one we've used for multiple projects, so it works for me. You can do your own research, obviously. So once you install it, you're going to go here to the plugins, and you're going to actually go to its settings, redirect. Okay, so I'm going to go to settings, and then I'm going to go to my redirects right here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the bottom and I'm going to create the redirect. So for example, let's say this is my structure. I'm going to copy this whole thing right here, and I'm going to create the redirect one by one. If I had 69 pages, 79 pages, I'm going to create it. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to remove the domain name. So I'm going to start with the slash and the whole thing, and I'm going to redirect it to the same thing without the dates, right? Without the year, month, day. And then I'm going to click on save, okay? So I'm going to click on save or add, and it has been added. It's right here if you notice, okay? So right there. Okay, so now let's assume that I created all of the 70 redirects. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go right here. Okay, and I'm going to go to settings. I'm going to go to permalinks, and I'm going to go change this, right? So I had this one, and I'm going to change it just to post name, for example, and I'm going to save it. Okay, so what happened here? Now if I go to this URL right here, if I go here, I'm going to open a new tab. Let's actually open one right here. I'm going to open new tab. If I hit enter, it'll actually redirect for me. It'll 301 redirect, which is a permanent redirect, which is good for SEO, good for the browser, and it redirects me there exactly. So now I know it's good. So let's go through the list. So now I created my redirects. If I had any caching, like full page caching or something like that, I would refresh it, but I didn't have on this test site, on this development site. Now I need to check the website. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go to all the places that I know have links to those blog posts, to those posts themselves. So for example, if I go here to blog, I'm actually going to go here and I'm going to look at the URLs. So if I hover here on the bottom of the screen, the bottom of the screen, you see that now the URLs don't have the dates, the year, month, day, right? If I scroll here, that looks good. I'm going to look at all the links just to make sure that my developer didn't do something that overrides it or something like that, right? Looks good, looks good. So I would test the whole site. I would go through the whole site, figure out where there's links, and that's it. And then the second thing is what we did before, which is we took the redirects and we actually tested it, okay? So if you want to actually test to make sure that it's actually a 301 redirect, you can go and type in header tool. You can do it in your browser, but I think this is slightly easier for a lot of you guys. Okay, and I have a favorite one that I use, okay, which is this one, but you can use different ones. I'll link to it in the description as well. Okay, and so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go to my URL. Let's go back to my redirects right here. Let me actually go back to the redirects. I'm going to find that. I'm just going to copy it, okay, just to show you an actual example. Redirects, and I'm going to go to the bottom. Actually, it's already on the top. Okay, so 1 second. I'm going to copy this, okay. Let's edit this for a second. Good, so I can copy it. And now I'm going to go to my URL right here, and I'm going to copy this, okay, and I'm going to put the URL in here, and I'm going to see what happens with the actual redirect, okay. So if you look here, I'm going to copy, and it says, yes, it was 301 redirected to slash, so I know it works correctly. It's a 301 redirect. It's good for search engine optimization. Okay, so now I check the website. Everything's good. Now I'm going to go to my Google ads, Facebook ads, any place that points to those old URLs. I'm going to modify that. So I'm not going to show you in the video. And the last thing I'm going to do is actually go to my Google Analytics, make sure I don't have any 404 pages, any kind of issues. I'm going to look at my SEO rankings. Over time, I'm going to figure out how that helped or didn't help with the efforts. And over time, I'm going to continue to take a look at it. So that's basically it. So just to summarize everything, changing permalinks during after you've already launched your website should be carefully done. Obviously, make a backup, create your redirects, get a list of all the old pages, create the redirects, do the changes in the permalinks, check your website, check your website. Don't forget to change all of the other, your ads and other places that you're pointing to your old URLs, and check your Google Analytics for 404s, issues, bugs, your servers, and obviously check your SEO rankings. Make sure it worked. If you guys do it, if you watch the video and you actually do this carefully, I would love to hear in the comments any issues, how your rankings changed. If you had any issues, any other comments, and of course questions. If you're not sure how to do it, you have a question, let me know. We've done this many times, and hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for listening. If you love, if you can subscribe, I will make more videos, and just ask for different videos, different topics. We do WordPress, Shopify, Magento, Google Analytics, SEO, a lot of web stuff. That's what we specialize in. So ask us any videos you want to create. I hope we can make for you guys. We have a list of a lot of things to do, and that's it. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you, guys.